What happens when the Jedi's brightest prodigy falls not only to the dark side, but also in love with the galaxy's most feared warlord? Long before Luke Skywalker was born, before even the Clone Wars reshaped the galaxy, there was a Jedi whose name echoed across history, not just for her strength in battle, but for her heart's rebellion. Bastila Shan was a master of battle meditation, the woman who nearly broke the Republic, and then helped save it. But the line between savior and traitor was never so thin as when she met the man behind the Mandalorian Wars, Revan. This is the story of a Jedi who was trained never to love, yet risked everything to follow her heart. A woman who rose, fell, and rose again. But at what cost? Before her name was whispered through the galaxy, Bastila Shan was the Jedi Council's most gifted student. Fierce, disciplined, and uncompromising. Raised during a time of deep conflict, Bastila trained under Jedi Master Nomi Sunrider's teachings in the use of battle meditation. A force power so potent it could decide the outcome of entire wars. The Jedi Council believed Bastila to be their greatest hope against the darkness brewing in the Outer Rim. Her presence on the battlefield turned chaos into strategy, giving Republic forces clarity and coordination. But the same strength that made her invaluable also made her rigid. Bastila believed unwaveringly in the Code, especially its view on love. So why would a Jedi like Bastila, who saw emotion as weakness, ever risk everything for a man like Revan? When the Jedi Council discovered that Revan, once a hero of the Republic, had turned to the dark side and declared himself Dark Lord of the Sith, they knew he had to be stopped. Bastila was chosen to lead the strike team, tasked with capturing him. Using her battle meditation, she helped corner Revan's flagship in a brutal ambush. But what happened next changed her life forever. As Bastila and her Jedi allies stormed the bridge of Revan's ship, Darth Malak, Revan's apprentice, betrayed his master, ordering a turbo laser strike on the vessel in an attempt to seize power. The explosion should have killed them all, but Bastila reached Revan just in time. Using the Force, she stabilized his failing mind, and in doing so, formed a powerful Force bond between them. Revan survived, but not as the man he once was. Wiped of his memories by the Jedi Council, Revan was given a new identity and placed under Bastila's watchful eye. At first, she loathed the mission. How could she trust a man who had once burned the galaxy in the name of conquest? How could she walk beside him, fight beside him, knowing what he had done? But what if the real danger wasn't the man Revan used to be, but what he might become again? Bastila had always believed herself to be a sentinel of the Jedi Code, a bastion of order in a galaxy spiraling into war. But as she travelled alongside Revan, protecting him and slowly unveiling fragments of his forgotten past, she began to question everything. Revan was nothing like the monster the Council described. He was thoughtful, measured, sometimes even kind. Bastila tried to dismiss it all as illusion, just echoes of a mind too damaged to pose a threat. But the more time they spent together, the more the Force bond between them deepened, until their emotions were no longer separate. They began to dream together, feel pain together, even anticipate each other's thoughts. And though Bastila refused to admit it, she had begun to fall in love with the one person she had sworn to bring down. But what happens when a Jedi begins to believe that the code itself is the real lie? Their journey led them to the Rakatan world of Lehon, also known as the Unknown World, where the ancient Starforge hung in orbit, a massive space station powered by the dark side, capable of producing an endless Sith fleet. It was there that Darth Malak struck again, kidnapping Bastila during the chaos. Tortured and broken, she resisted Malak's attempts to turn her for days. But under the shadow of the Starforge, her will began to fray. The Jedi Council had lied to her. They had wiped Revan's memory, manipulated them both, and worst of all, they had abandoned her to Malak's cruelty. In her despair, Bastila's bitterness consumed her. She finally broke, and Malak made her his new apprentice. Now corrupted by the dark side and twisted by pain, she vowed to destroy the Republic that had forsaken her. She would take Revan's place at Malak's side, or perhaps reclaim Revan himself. But would the man she once loved follow her into darkness, or would she become his enemy? As the Republic fleet prepared for its final assault on the Starforge, Revan, his identity restored, his memories returned, faced the unthinkable. The woman he loved had become the new Sith champion. When they finally met on the command deck of the Starforge, it wasn't simply a duel of blades. It was a war of hearts. Bastila raged against him, striking with fury, calling him weak for returning to the light. But Revan didn't strike back in anger. He didn't condemn her. Instead, he reached out, not with his saber, but with compassion. In that moment, Bastila wavered, and that's when she asked the question she had buried deep within herself. If Revan could be redeemed, could she be redeemed too? Bastila surrendered, not out of weakness, but out of the strength it took to trust him again. Together, she and Revan combined their power to unleash a devastating wave of battle meditation, turning the tide of the battle above. The Republic fleet surged with newfound precision and morale, overwhelming the Sith defences. The Starforge was destroyed, Darth Malak was dead, and the Sith Empire collapsed, for a time. In the aftermath, Bastila confessed everything: her fall, her fear, her love. The Jedi Council, astonished that Revan had resisted the dark side a second time, offered Bastila a chance at redemption. She accepted, on the condition that she be allowed walk her own path with Revan at her side. But what kind of future could they build when both had once stood at the edge of the abyss? After the war, Bastila and Revan disappeared from public life. Records of their marriage were quietly sealed, hidden from a Jedi Order that still forbade attachment. The Council had little choice but to tolerate it. How do you judge a Jedi who helped save the Republic twice? But peace did not last. Revan began to feel echoes of something far worse, an ancient threat hidden in the unknown regions, one that had whispered to him during his time as a Sith. He believed it was the true cause behind his fall, and the real enemy of the galaxy. He left Bastila behind to face it alone, telling her nothing, only that he loved her. She never saw him again. But what if Revan had never left? Would the galaxy have survived the darkness that came next? Bastila's story didn't end with Revan's disappearance. She raised their son alone, Bastila Shan, and ensured that her bloodline would carry on. Generations later, her descendants would shape galactic history again. Bastila Shan, her direct descendant, would rise to become Grand Master of the Jedi Order during the time of the Old Republic's resurrection. Bastila Shan became a legend, not just for her power, but for her choices. She was the Jedi who fell to darkness, but returned stronger. The woman who helped destroy a Sith Empire, and whose legacy would echo across millennia. But perhaps her greatest victory was not on the battlefield. It was in proving that even a Jedi, trained to suppress all emotion, could love and still find redemption. Bastila Shan was never just a weapon, never just a symbol of Republic power. She was a woman shaped by pain, by war, and by forbidden love. Her story forces us to ask, is it weakness to fall? Or is it the true strength in rising again? But what do you think? Should the Council have accepted Bastila back after her fall to the darkness? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, like, subscribe, and join us next week for another deep dive into the archives. If you are enjoying these videos, become a member and let's uncover the galaxy's biggest secrets together. Thanks for watching.